Welcome to Mitchell Elf. Our theme this year is adaptations, and this unit is teeth and skulls, and this is the introduction conclusion video. This year, our theme is adaptation, and that means to change or to adapt to the existing conditions. And it's always important, I think, to start off the introduction reminding the kids that that's our theme, maybe getting them to think about some of the adaptations they learned in the previous unit or units, and then applying that theme to the current topic. And so for this unit, we're gonna learn about teeth and skulls. And that fits into adaptation because over time, animals' teeth and skulls have evolved or adapted to meet the animal's life and diet. So today we're going to be looking at all kinds of skulls. From an animal skull, we can tell a lot about how the animal lives and especially what it eats. I have here 3 specific examples of an omnivore, and a herbivore, and a carnivore. And you can tell at a glance that the carnivores eat meat and they have sharp teeth, and their jaws actually only move up and down. Their sharp canines in the front are used for grabbing and holding prey. The herbivore eats plants, and so its incisors, teeth in the front, which this one doesn't have very many, grab the plants, and the molars grind the plants. So if you looked inside of here, you'd see that those are all pretty ground down. And then my omnivore is a lot like us. It has a variety of teeth, and they eat meat and plants, and so they use their incisors to cut and tear, and then they use the molars for grinding, so they have teeth that need to do all those jobs. And then there's a fourth type, which is insectivores, and I don't have an example of that here, but the insectivores obviously eat insects. So they may have sharp teeth to catch and hold insects, and some of them don't even have teeth, like anteaters. They just crush the food on the roof of their mouths after they pulled it into their mouth with their long tongues. So there's the quick 30-second background. These specimens that we have are from the Museum of Nature and Science, and they are on loan to us, and it would be also super important to make sure the kids understand how special and important that is. I like to do that right as I'm introducing the unit, let them know right at the very beginning that we have to be really careful, that it's a privilege that we get to borrow them, and then lay out the rules. And the rules are that basically for everything it's a 2-finger touch, which means you're just touching with 2 fingers, and you can feel it. You can feel the teeth with your 2 fingers. In center 3, you can do some picking up, depending if you decide that's appropriate for your grade level in your classroom. But when you pick up the specimens, you need to do that over a table so that it doesn't fall crashing to the ground if you should accidentally drop them. So a typical elf day is outlined for you on the introduction page as well. Our suggestion is, for the 2-hour, is that you do 15 minutes worth of setup and then 15 minutes of introduction. And then run 4 centers. For teeth and skulls, there only are 4 centers, so there isn't one to drop, but they all have really great and important information. And then a 15-minute conclusion. I highly recommend you stick to the 20-minute per center, and if you feel like you don't have enough material to cover, there are books you can either get from that center to read with the kids. You could have the kids write a little bit about what they've learned and take that paper from center to center. You could borrow a book from the intro conclusion as long as it's not being used in the conclusion. There should be, hopefully, plenty of things to do to make the 20 minutes go, and especially center 3 will need that whole 20 minutes. The focus of teeth and skulls is that different types of teeth are adapted to grasp, hold, and chew different kinds of food, like we just went over. And so the kids are going to be examining the kinds of teeth an animal has and the shape of its jaw and skull, and find out that that gives us clues about the animal's life and about the food that it eats. There are a series of opening questions. You should tailor those to what works for the age of your students. You may want to just throw the questions out and not have the kids answer them right away, or you may want to just pick one or two and focus on them. Most of the questions will be answered as they rotate through the centers, hopefully. You can choose to briefly discuss carnivores, omnivores, insectivores, and herbivores if you want, or even just throw that terminology out there for them. And then you also might want to throw in the fact that in addition to animals' teeth, each species has a specific characteristic skull shape that's been molded over time to adapt to that animal's way of life. So by looking at its skull, we can get an idea of that animal's lifestyle. So for instance, birds and bats have lightweight skulls, and that makes it easy for them to fly. Skulls and skeletons. Some animals have long, pointed and probing skulls, and others have eye sockets on the sides of their head. Others have eye sockets more to the front. Those are predator-prey things that would be good to point out now, but we'll also be going over in the next unit, Hunter and Hunted. In addition, up at school there is a walrus skull and a gorilla skull that you could also have out just for getting the kids just oohing and aahing and brainstorming, thinking about what they're going to learn, and that might help grab everybody's attention. Lastly, or not lastly, but the puppet show, we've got 4 great characters who who shared stories about their teeth and learned that they don't all have the same kind of teeth, and they don't all have the same kind of eating habits. So that's a great resource, and puppet show is always something I recommend to do. And then there's some great books you could use in the conclusion. I think these would work really well. There's a really fabulous one that's called The Skull Alphabet Book. And in it, as you read through it, the kids have to, based on the clues, decide what kind of skull that is. So for instance, A says, A is for ... We're not telling you. As you read this book, you will have to use your skull, actually what is in your skull, your brain. Can you guess what animal this is? Think. It's perfectly shaped for eating small, 6-legged creatures. And then if you pay attention, there's some small 6-legged creatures. And hopefully that'll get the kids thinking at the end, well, it's got to be an insectivore. Well, what has a long snout? Well, it's an anteater. And if you're not sure, or that we also have provided a key to the skull alphabet. So that will hopefully help you. Anyhow, I think it's a fabulous book to kind of just sum up and wrap up what they've learned over the whole unit. There's also What If You Had Animal Teeth, and that kind of summarizes in a different way, thinking that the kids have the animal teeth and what those teeth would be good for, and therefore what you would eat. And I think that's about it. Again, just be really careful with the specimens. If there is an accident, something does break, please sweep up all the pieces hopefully you can find them all, and put them in a Ziploc bag and label it, and then you can email us immediately. My email is fishingyak, FISHINGYAAK @AOL.com, and it's Emmy that's talking here. And so you can email me right away, or you can also email mitchellelf@gmail.com if you have any questions or concerns. And again, accidents do happen. We understand that. We just need to know right away. So, thank you so much to everybody that came to the training, and again, if you have any questions, you can contact us at mitchellelf@gmail.com. Thanks.